With a tale as epic and grandiose as the Odyssey, and a filmmaker as incredibly talented and revered as Christopher Nolan, it seemed as if Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey was impossible to go wrong. And that's why I gave it an 8 out of 10. I mean, I had pretty high expectations going in, but I think honestly Christopher Nolan delivered. Now, if you're unfamiliar with Homer's The Odyssey, it's this epic tale about how this character Odysseus, played by Matt Damon in this character, comes back to Ithaca. It's his journey sailing back to Ithaca from Troy. If you're not familiar with Troy, they invaded Trojan horse. Yeah. The Greeks gave them a faux horse that they were all trapped inside. The Romans, the people of Troy let them in, and then as soon as Matt Damon, Odysseus, and them were in, they like invaded, let their people in. They defeated Troy, and then they went back to, or they tried to go back to Ithaca to. I mean, to reclaim their kingdom, just to go back to, they did what they had to do essentially. And so the Odyssey follows Odysseus on his journey back from Troy, and he sees multiple different. He goes to multiple different islands, sees multiple different places. Goes by sirens with his crewmates and stuff like that. It's essentially the sad return of a standalone soldier, essentially. And like all the adventures that happen, like the first time, the first adventure they go on is like they sort of see a cyclops, and like they like bother its like lifestyle and stuff, and they're in danger, and some of them get eaten, and they eventually manage escaping it. Then they go to another island full of giants that are like full of like silver armor and stuff. Following that, they go to, if I'm not mistaken, they have to pass by a whirlpool of Charybdis, and they have to walk by like a narrow channel that I think Scylla is hiding in. Scylla and Charybdis, both gods, Greek, Roman gods. I'm not too sure, but like really interesting gods. I play Smite. I really was super happy to see them, which is a lot of the hype. A lot of the reasons this movie wasn't a 10 out of 10 for me was simply because of expectations and personal preference. Like I would have loved to see. Look, it's Christopher Nolan. You know what I mean? Like it's Nolan and it's the Odyssey. Like it's not crazy to expect like some Dune worm ass. You know what I mean? Like stuff to come out. Maybe not necessarily CGI, because I saw Tom Holland and Anne Hathaway, Tom Holland, who plays Telemachus, Odysseus, and Penelope's son, and Anne Hathaway, who plays Penelope herself. They were talking about how like even they were like on set when they were filming, and they were a part of the whole movie being made, and even they were sort of impressed by how it turned out, and they're like, how did that happen? Like I can't believe that. Like I don't know how that works or anything like that. Like because a lot of it wasn't even CG. I think like they discussed about how Christopher Nolan used like practical effects and puppetry and camera angles and trick works and stuff like that to make it look a certain way. And like yeah. It's I had an amazing time with this movie. Really, the only reason it's not a 10 out of 10 is because it didn't feel as grandiose. It was definitely epic. It was extremely epic and intensely epic at times, for sure. Definitely had those moments from like sea to like facing enemies to like even beautiful moments like the entirety of Troy burning down. Even that was like a visually a spectacle. I only went to go see an RPX. There's this whole cult of people who are like, as Nolan intended, IMAX 70 millimeter RP. I get it. I absolutely get it. I kind of am one of those people too. But like, I'm not one of those, like, I'm not going to see the movie if it isn't in 70, because I went to go see it with my friends, and I have like so much dirt on I shouldn't wear a black shirt. You can see all the nastiness in it. But actually, I guess it's the white shirt that you can see all the nastiness in it. But a lot of white lint gets on my shirt, and wrinkles. This shit is crinkled to high hell. Oh my God. Hold up. I forgot what the word was. Ironing break. I was gonna say hold up, ironing break, and I was gonna cut to me with a crisp iron black shirt, but I don't own one of those, and I don't own an iron. Well, I do own an iron, but I don't be ironing my clothes. I should maybe iron my clothes one of these days. Anyways, the Odyssey. It's not insane to expect like something grandiose. I mean, it's an epic tale. It's an epic director. I thought that there would be like slightly higher highs. My bad. But honestly, this movie is grounded in a lot of like darkness and adventure, and like a lot of what's it called? There's a lot of tension. There's a lot of tension, and it's specifically between Odysseus and his shipmates because at the end of the day, they're following him, but sometimes they don't see eye to eye and they don't understand him. And like obviously, there's hubris that plays in the way, and like for some reason, Odysseus is like being what's it called? He's being mentored or driven by like the gods, or you know what I mean. So you can imagine being like on a ship with like it's supposed to be your king, and then all of a sudden he's like, nope, the gods are saying we can't go this way. It's like, what do you mean we can't go this way? We've been like the whole fucking journey was leading up so that we can pass this here like channel. Like, what do you mean we can't go here all of a sudden? He's like, no, the gods are saying we can't go there. We have to go to this. We have to sail west for like 48 days and then go to the island of Hades where death is gonna come up from the ground. It's like, bro, I don't want to do that anymore, man. It's like, it was really funny because like obviously this is taking place like way back when. So like they're like their excuses are like, well, the gods don't want us to do that, and then they just like are like, oh, I guess we can't do it because the gods don't want. And it's so funny because it's like fifth grade or it's like 5-year-olds like playing pretend. They're like, no, you can't do that because I have an ultra shield. It's like, no, well, God said the blast like goes through shields, it works through shields. It's like sounded so ridiculous, bro. But I mean, it was like a juxtaposition of like these like burly, strong men going to war and believing in something like greater than them. And so it was like, like I'm this strong warrior, but like even I won't defy a god. And I mean, that's a lot of what the Odyssey is. It's Odysseus understanding that he's a human, that he's like that he is mortal, that the gods are immortal, that he for some reason is blessed with this information, and he is blessed with mortality and failures and success and failures and successes and triumphs. And like the biggest takeaway from the movie is how he like gets survivor's remorse or survivor's guilt, where he doesn't really believe that he deserves to live, even though the main crew dying at the end was because they didn't listen to his warning. They didn't heed his warning that like, yo, we're gonna go to the island where Ra's cattle are. Please don't eat Ra's cattle or else we'll be doomed. You guys will all die. And then they eventually do end up eating it. It's this beautiful scene where he's like sort of like he gets like led by I think a sheep or like something. He gets led by something. I believe Athena or something like that. Who's played by Zendaya, who's an incredible adaptation of Athena. I think it's really sick. My friend was confused for a second. He's like, "Wow, I thought like that's not Athena. That was just like some girl or whatever that was like leading her around." I was like, "No, that was his interpretation of Athena. Like that, like the what's it called? That's all that his human brain can sort of like understand Athena to be is like this like citizen, this like poor like what's it called? Hope, essentially hope. She saw Athena as hope, and like this as this as Zendaya's character, not Athena, Zendaya's like actual character in the movie, it's just like some civilian in Troy as it's getting burned down, as she's like as she looks up to Matt Damon, Odysseus, and like accepts that she's about to die. I think it's at that moment before the Odyssey truly starts. But I mean, at this point in the film, it's like being shown later because that's when I think it's revealed that it's like Athena kind of, or that her physical form it comes from a civilian that Matt Damon saw in order to like I think just like bring home the idea of like hope and like hopelessness, even humanity and like what it means to be like you're taking the life of somebody like that, and then really soon afterwards all your men lose their lives. There's been a lot of loss surrounding the life of Odysseus, and it's shown really well in this, like a lot of the guilt that he has. Like for example, one of the biggest thing in this movie is guilt. And for example, one of the things that I think was really interesting was when I brought it up in an earlier recording that I had to scrap because I got a text message from my boss and I ended up like losing the plot 15 minutes into the video. It was awful. But like one of the things I saw people complain about was that Odysseus sometimes had hubris that didn't make sense, because in the Odyssey a lot of the time his whole thing is like he knows he's mortal and like he's following like what the gods are saying, and also like wants the best for his men. He wants the best for his men, and obviously himself. He wants to return back to Ithaca. He wants all his men to be happy and proud. That's what a leader is. A leader wants to make sure that everybody is okay and that they are a group. And so it's really interesting when he gets tied up and he's like, I want to hear the sirens. I want to be one of the people that like heard the sirens and survived and lived to tell. You know what I mean? And there's that really beautiful scene where that one shipmate like takes off the earwax that they use to plug their ears, and he hears the sweet sound of the sirens and he jumps off. And shortly after that, you see Matt Damon's character Odysseus. I keep saying Matt because it's like I just know him as Matt. You know what I mean? But Odysseus is like tied to the 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 pole of the ship. I don't know what it's called, man. I don't know ship talk, but like the mast. I think he's shipped to the he's tied to the mast of the ship, and they're like rowing past the sirens, and he explains that it's the most beautiful and like heartbreaking sound you could ever hear. It's the sound of all the successes and failures, and all the people you let down, and all the things you couldn't do, all the people it's everything you've wanted and everything you could ever want, and what you want is things that you've had and can't have again, and it's just beautiful. It's just insane. Like, you know what I mean? I understand that people are upset because Odysseus' character did. I don't know if he didn't actually do that in the thing, or like it's not like his character to do that or what. But yeah, I know that there was some gripe about that. I really enjoyed it. Honestly, there were no like standout performances exactly. I think like the movie was greater than the sum of its parts. You know what I mean? Like I think it all came together and worked beautifully. But Matt Damon as Odysseus was super dope. That was sort of the A plot, was Odysseus coming back, and it like switched from flashbacks to, because like the majority of the movie he is stuck with Calypso, and you find out he's been there for 7 years, and he washed up on there without his shipmates because they ate the cattle of Ra and then they died in a shipwreck. Um, but I really like it that a lot of the movie is being told through a flashback. He's like with Calypso, and she's reminding him like, you know, this happened, and they're like, or like she's like, oh, like stay with me, and like she's not luring him as much as she is just like egging him on, and like eventually like settling with him. I don't know. It was really weird because I usually think of Calypso as like convincing Matt Damon to stay, or like Odysseus to stay, and in this one she kind of was and kind of wasn't. She simultaneously wanted him to like stay, not necessarily live a good life, but she was saying you have a good life here, and was also saying like, oh, soon you'll remember. And so like I don't know if she wanted him to stay or not, so I don't know. But like the movie, a lot of it was told in like flashbacks, Calypso explaining things to Matt and Matt explaining them to Calypso, and then you actually seeing the sequence of events happening. So that was like the A plot, Odysseus retelling his stuff. And then the B plot was sort of, it was sort of a B and C plot. It was Tom Holland as Odysseus' son Telemachus, I believe, um going to find out if Odysseus is still alive, because at this point it's been 20 years without a king, and Penelope, the queen of Ithaca, played by Anne Hathaway, who has a great performance as well, is it's 20 years without a king, and so is Ithaca, and she's like, listen, listen, Telemachus, I might have to go to one of the suitors because I don't think you're fit to be a king, and like, you know, Odysseus hasn't been back in like 20 years, so we're gonna have to do something about this because they want a king, and honestly, I've been queen for the past 20 years. We can make that work, but it's not enough. So like obviously all the suitors are like in the kingdom, like, you know, like running the town essentially without a king, and it gets to a point where eventually Anne Hathaway's character Penelope wants to just like find a suitor so that they can be the new king, and that's essentially when Matt Damon's character finally shows up as Odysseus in disguise, because before he finally makes it to Ithaca, he goes to Hades, this dead island of fallen ones, and he is confronted by the souls of those who have died, and like for one person specifically, Susset, who delivered the Trojan horse to the people of Troy actually, and died doing that. Matt Damon goes back to Ithaca with his name to sort of honor him, but yeah, the BC plot is Tom Holland figuring out more about Odysseus before he comes back to Ithaca. And then it's Penelope sort of dealing with the suitors, and the suitors, you know, taking advantage of the kingdom while Odysseus is gone. And so you get John Berthel playing a character, playing one of Odysseus' shipmate, explaining to Tom Holland that being a warrior and like exactly like being a leader like Odysseus isn't exactly all peaches and cream, and like explaining what happened to his brother Agamemnon, how he was one of the like bravest soldiers ever, and like returned to Ithaca only to have his wife and her mistress kill him, and you know, like it puts like a new perspective on like even like success, you know what I mean? Because this whole time Odysseus is sort of afraid of his men not making it back, and it's like, well, even if they do make it back, it might not even be the success and triumphant victory that you think it is. And so it's really sick seeing John Berthel play this like sort of supportive character for Tom Holland. I think it was really funny. I got SpongeBob. I mean, not SpongeBob. I got fucking Marvel vibes. I don't know why I said SpongeBob. I was gonna say superhero, and then I was gonna say Marvel, and then I ended up saying SpongeBob. But like, yeah, Tom Holland and John Berthel, they have a really dope scene when they share the screen with Lupita, who plays both the twin that killed Agamemnon and also John Berthel's wife in the movie Melodicius or something like that. I don't know what his name. All the names are insane, and so yeah. So eventually, after Calypso helps Odysseus remind himself of everything that went down and why he's the only one alive, he returns and like after he gets confronted by Susset, the ghost of Susset, Hades, and Susset tells him that he should that he what's it called? Susset tells him that Susset sort of like explains to him like the guilt that he should have and like he how he let people die and how he should bury people and how people should like deserve a proper burial and like how you should like give sacrifices and respect because like a lot of the reason that they were going through bad luck and stuff was because they were doomed by gods because they didn't do sacrifices and they didn't what's it called, they didn't properly give a good send off to those that died for their cause. And so a lot of the shipmates also are mad at Odysseus for that reason. That also adds up tension. And so like it's all sort of tied in together. And then he sees Agamemnon. He's sort of confused why Agamemnon is dead in the Isle of Dead of Hades or whatever. And he explains that like when he came back as himself victorious, he only had a few moments before he was struck down. And so he advises Odysseus to go back into Ithaca disguised, and he does. And the reason Telemachus, his son, finds out that it's Odysseus is because shortly before Telemachus heads out to find out more about Odysseus, he actually asks like one of his the John Leguizamo's character. If you're not familiar with Sid the Sloth or in the movie Chef, John Leguizamo plays a sort of like blind friend of Odysseus, like an old, I think, martial arts teacher, so like fighting teacher, instructor, something like that. I don't know, just an old friend of Odysseus that helped Tom with some of his fighting, Telemachus, and he talked to Telemachus about like this dog that was like really old that used to be Odysseus's. He picked him out himself. The rest of them like died and stuff like that. And so like even that like surrounded by death all the time. Geez, picking out the lucky one. But even then like he's the dog is on his last legs. Some of the suitors like kick the dog out and Leguizamo because he's like this old man that is sort of protecting this dog, and these guys are all young like rowdy dickheads like making fun of like the kingdom and stuff. So yeah, John Leguizamo's character introduced him to the dog, and the reason Odysseus, or the reason Telemachus knows Odysseus is his dad, Odysseus, because he pets the dog, and the dog whimpers and finally like goes to rest, and that's when he makes the connection. It's like, oh, this is my dad, this is Odysseus. And then you get this really epic fight scene at the end where Odysseus sort of proves himself. He like lines the bow up, he like plucks it to give like to make that sick noise. That's another thing. A lot of the like sounds of this movie were super dope, very loud at times. I know some people were complaining about that. I think for RPX, I didn't see it in IMAX. Again, the as Nolan intended, Colt like 70mm IMAX middle seat. I don't know, I just couldn't do it. Just wasn't able to do it. The seats were filled up for weeks. But so yeah. Yeah, I saw an RPX. I did see a fair amount of what's it called? I did see a lot of moments where I'm like, oh, I'm sure in IMAX this is like crisper, like deeper blue, or like more intense, or like a wider, like more like a longer frame. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure it would look a little bit better. Like there were some scenes, specifically one scene where like at the end they were walking down a flight of stairs, and like I saw like some people's faces cut off and stuff, and I'm like, I'm sure I could have seen like the whole picture. You know what I mean, on IMAX? But it's not the end of the world. I mean, I absolutely recommend watching it in IMAX if you can. There's no seats available though. But yeah, the Odyssey 8 out of 10 movie. Well, what I didn't like about it was really just the what I wanted there to be more of and stuff. Like I can't really fault it too hard. I can't really fault my man CN for that too much, Christopher Nolan, or my man Homer with the Iliad written Odyssey type shit. You know what I mean? I had fun watching this movie. The only thing, again, is like it's a bit long. It's 3 hours long. I mean, it's epic. You go through everything. So like it's, you know what I mean. I don't necessarily think you'll be checking your watch all the time or checking your phone, but it does go on for a while. You will get like your butt will get numb and stuff in the seat, and so like your ass will fall asleep. I mean, not butt will get numb. Jesus, I'm thinking of like, what am I thinking of? I'm thinking of sleeping on like your arm and then it goes numb. But I guess that's also falling asleep. Falling asleep, going numb. I don't know, same thing. Um, yeah, let me just really quickly point out like some of the actresses and actors that I think did really well. Specifically, like Lupita, I didn't realize what was as dope. She played two different people, so I was sort of on some Michael B. Jordan timing. Played some twins. Lupita was fantastic. John Berthol was amazing. Matt Damon, great. Anne Hathaway, super dope. I kind of liked Pattinson's character. He like played like the spoiled brat character, like his like this uptight suitor. It was really dope. And Zendaya being like the human form or like human attitude, like interpretation of Athena that Matt Damon could like realize and like connect to humanity wise. I thought that was super dope as well. Yeah, yeah. John Leguizamo as the blind, the sort of friend or the blind helper or like the blind help. That was super dope. I'm trying to think of specific other actors as well because it's like was. I feel like this was. I mean, it was even all the actors I mentioned: Lupita, John Perthol, Don Holland, Tom Holland, Zendaya, Robert Pattinson. Jesus Christ, Robert Pattinson, Zendaya, and what's it called? Tom Holland in a movie together. I know that was a little bit stressful with the drama coming out. I remember being like, like Tom, like yeah, your girlfriend's making out with Robert Pattinson, dude. Um, but yeah, no, I definitely recommend giving the movie. Jesus, the fucking screen goes so white when my underarms are in frame. Oh my god, I'm so white, man. Jesus. No, but I definitely recommend checking out the movie. It's 3 hours, so I mean, definitely go out of your way on like a Saturday to go see it. Like have some free time. Um, yeah. I initially gave this movie like a 7 out of 10. I think I was just like super upset that I didn't see like more. Like they said Charybdis and Scylla, and I was expecting to see like some mythical creatures and stuff. And like again, it's Homer. It's like this epic tale. I wanted there to be like some really big, huge moments, and there definitely was some big moments, but not as extreme to my liking. But it's also just like it was a story first and foremost. It was more so about the characters and their relationship and like the complications Odysseus had struggling with like success and failure and what it means to be a good leader and getting his men alive and like getting his men to someplace in one piece. It was dope. It was a dope sort of adventure movie. It had some interesting elements to obviously what's it called? I guess insecurities, inefficiencies as not being happy with oneself, like a lot of like purpose and stuff like that. Again, because Odysseus is on a whole journey and he wants to be like this good leader, and then he realizes that even in failure and both in success, sometimes it's not what it looks like, and so it's just the human condition to just move on, try to adapt to what you can, and like yeah, indomitable human spirit will keep you going, and that's what kept Bro going, and that's what we ended up seeing in the movie. I think it was dope. I definitely recommend seeing it. I was able to, what's it called, get a good grasp on everything. There might be some things you want to have happen that won't happen, but I don't think it. I think it's pretty hard to be disappointed in this movie. It was a great watch. I mean, unless you're not much of an action, sort of person, even then, I think there's like the intense dialogue and like just a sequence of events, not even so like the events conspiring, just a sequence of events happening like add up and are interesting and are really great to bear witness to, you know what I mean? And so all right, whatever. I didn't do the intro or whatever. Yo, what's up? Welcome back to Angels Reaches Always a Angels Film Friday. You know it though. You know it though. And I kind of feel bad that I didn't do the intro because I've been kind of just been going straight into reviews. Because like the past couple ones I recorded, I've gone straight into them. I think just because like uh dude, I have so many movies on my mind. I got to talk about them. I don't have to. I say I got to because this channel gives me peace of mind, but like I don't have to. But yeah. Please check out the Odyssey or don't. Let me know what you think. Let me know your favorite Nolan film. Let me know your favorite island. Let me know your favorite part of the movie or your least favorite part of the movie. I think when they got turned into pigs and stuff was weird. It was funny because Tom Holland in an interview with Anne Hathaway and stuff was like, dude, it's all like practical effects and stuff. Like when they got turned into pigs, that was real. I was laughing. I was like, that's really funny that I know what he means. Like it's all like puppeteers and like malleable like material and stuff that you're able to like work with. But it's really funny imagining like they actually got turned into pigs. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's it. That's it for this Film Friday. Thanks so much for tuning in, whatever, watching. Let me know in the comments about anything. If not, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. My hair is awful, by the way. Like I was, it's always bad though.